Welcome, my dear viewers. This is Anitara from Healing Touch, and let me, on the onset, wish you all a very, very happy New Year. Let's say a happy and abundant New Year, because trust me, my dear friends, this year is going to bring a lot of abundance in some way or the other for all of us. So, what I'm going to do today is give you a broad interpretation of the astrological placements of the planets, either going direct or retrograde, the full moon and the new moon, and the eclipses that we will be facing throughout this year. Now, what happens is when these placements come up in our sun sign, then they have they either bring something really good for us, or these are the times when we need to take care and not go into anything new. So this is what I will be talking about during this live session that I'm doing today. In my subsequent videos, what I will be doing is actually going in detail, in depth about the different sun signs. So probably I will be coming up with 4 more videos, and every video will take into account 3 of the sun signs. So that is what you can actually go deeper into, checking on what your sun sign actually, what are the positions of the planets and the eclipses and the retrogrades and everything in your particular sun sign, and what is it that you need to take care of at that time, or what is the advantage you need to take care of that placement. So before I begin, let us just go back. Now, what happened during the past 2 years? During the past 2 years, of course, when the pandemic hit, we all were under a lot of stress and changes in our lives collectively, which we're still trying to come out of. Now, understand that this did not happen randomly. The past 2 years, whatever we have been through, was actually to bring us back into our true soul self. And of course, there was a lot of changes politically, globally. There was a lot of rise of social consciousness. But all this is happening and will continue to happen because we have to stay true to our moral standards. Now, going back 2 years, so in 2020, which is a 4 universal year, 2020 adds up to a 4. So what does the 4 universal year signify? Now, in numerology, when we're teaching numerology, the let us say the pattern for 4 is a box. So 4, it's when 4 comes up, it means that you have to actually look deeper into your structure. But on the other hand, you also feel boxed because you're structured inside that with no way out. So what happens in that is that I also call it the big reveal. Now, why? Because there is a lot of, shadow selves that are illuminated when you are stuck or caged in that box. What is shadow self? Shadow self is something that we brush under the carpet or put it up in the closet because we don't want to look at it. So it could be relationships, it could be the way your job is going, it could be any situation that keeps coming up in your life. So we tend not to look at it. But when you are in that box with not much to do, let us say, in the outside, then you will pay a lot more attention to those shadow selves. Now, also, it doesn't happen to scare you or something. It just happens because you need to acknowledge it, recognize it, and then release it. So coming to 2021 was a 5 universal year. So now the drawing that we do for the number 5 in numerology is from the box, in the 2 top flaps are opening up to form a triangle. So it is a triangle with a box down. Now what does it mean? That you are asked to now open the flap and move out of your comfort zone. So, of course, the number 5 denotes a lot of change. It is like literally you're shooting out of the box. And for many people, especially for us human beings, the number 5 also denotes a lot of insecurity. It denotes uncertainty and massive collective upheaval. And also because, with the number 5, in 4, you have faced your shadow self. In 5, you have to make the changes to actually then take you ahead on the right path. So obviously, you have to go through a lot of change, either in your relationship or your way of life or whatever it may be. You have to undertake those changes. 2022. Now, 2022 is a triple dose of the number 2. The number 2 denotes incredible abundance, and it is a very, very powerful code. Now, number 11 and number 2 are called as master numbers because they hold the energy which is extremely powerful. The master energies are there with us. And number 2 also carries the energy of balance, connection, and love. And above all, it is the energy of receiving. Therefore, there is no doubt, like I told you in the beginning, 2022 is going to bring a lot of abundant gifts to all of us. It is also a 6 universal year because 2022 adds up to a 6. This is the time when you start listening to the whisperings of your heart. This is the time when you heal deeply, love fiercely, and create the abundance that your soul has been craving for. 6, my dear friends, is the number of love. It's the number of commitment. It is the number of service. So during this year, you have to water the seeds that you have been planting deep within your heart. Now, after 2020, when you were boxed, 2021, you decided or you actually started making the changes in your life. In this year, 2022, you have to nourish, you have to water that seed which is there in the deep hidden parts of ourselves and actually bring it to fruition. So this is the year, that's why I'm saying this is the year when abundance will come, because yes, if you have followed what you were supposed to do the last 2 years, of course this year is going to fill you with abundance. But please remember, my dear friends, you have to prioritize self-care and also prioritize your soul purpose in this year, during this year. So the year 2022 has a lot of patient power. The number 6 has a lot of patient power. The kind of loving, gentle push that you need, from the masters, let's say, or from God source, to actually make you come into becoming the person that you have always known yourself to be. So yes, overall, the energies may still be a little chaotic, but then this is the energy signature which brings out the greater and more mature and wise part of us, even individually and collectively. Now, the collective mass consciousness has already risen in its vibrational frequency. Now, how does this happen? When more and more of us human beings sit down and meditate or do whatever it is to come back into our central balance, to come back into our grounding, the vibrational frequency of the planet Earth increases. And when the vibrational frequency increases to the point where it has increased right now, there's a lot of photonic light that will start coming in during this entire year. Now, this photonic light will actually fill not only our physical, but even our mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. Now, when this happens, there will be a lot of changes again that probably we have to now take. Earlier, maybe we thought of the changes, but now you have to take action towards those changes. And so, yes, this year, of course, changes may come up. It could be certain habits, it could be interactions with people, it could be your relationships, anything that actually makes you feel a little uncomfortable or not in proper alignment. So when that happens, there are 2 options. 1, you still fight the misalignment and struggle. So many a times, like I've said, human beings abhor any kind of change. So, the sentence at that time, what probably stands very true for all of us as human beings is known devil than the unknown ghost. So many a times we still stick by the same relationship or be in the same situation or whatever it is, because we don't know that if we do shift out or make the change, what's going to happen next. So because of familiarity, we tend to be in the same space without taking that leap of faith. And that's wrong, my dear friends. So if you are in any kind of misalignment, please understand that there still will be a lot of struggles that will come in your life. So what is the other option? The other option is that you let go of the old ways and you openly embrace new ways to experience your life. Now, this is what I call taking a leap of faith, the more you let go of your old energies, you are creating space for this new vibrational energy of love and light to fill you up. You may also perhaps be guided to clean out certain areas of your home, to clean out certain areas in your relationships, or you also will be guided to let go of some emotional baggages. Old acquaintance that you probably haven't still released from your energy body may suddenly come up and you have to deal with it. Now, while I was taking a meditation a few days back with my students, there was one example, because I always ask the masters, give me a very simple example to really explain what the situation is today. So when I asked them this before I took the meditation, they just showed me a giant wheel. They showed me a big fun fair, and that we are standing and looking at a beautiful, huge giant wheel. Now, there are two things that will happen to us as individuals. One, some of us will come into immediate fear. That giant wheel is too high. It looks too scary. It's too risky. I'm not going to climb that giant wheel. I'm not going to go up there. So there is a lot of fear that will come in us. Some other people, like me, for instance, will actually say, wow, it looks so exciting. I want to get up on the giant wheel and I want to have the fun. I want to experience the thrill of the giant wheel. So there are two predominant, let's say, energies that will be working in us throughout this entire year. One is fear and one is the thrill. Now, always remember, my dear friends, that even if there is fear in you, there is a certain portion of thrill. I mean, you probably will not want to get onto the giant wheel, but you love looking at the people up there and screaming and shouting and all. You like that. You enjoy that. Those people who are already on the giant wheel because of the thrill will also face fear, especially, the time when the giant wheel is coming down and you get that funny feeling in your stomach. So you also will, there will be some, let us say, residue of fear in you. So they both go hand in hand. But this entire year, you really have to ask yourself, what am I more inclined towards? Do I fear life? Do I fear relationship? Do I fear my future? Do I worry about, what's going to happen next? Or am I comfortable enough to say, I'm going with the flow and I will, go take the ride wherever it is leading me. I'm going to go ahead and enjoy the ride. So this is what you really have to consider. Now, let us look at the planetary alignments. Now, Saturn, as you know, is the planet of discipline, authority, and structure. Whenever Saturn comes into your chart, it is always teaching you that. Saturn also, we say, takes care of our karmic baggages. So this is the time when, probably, in our Indian mythology, we say that Sade Sati aa gayi, that means Shani aa gayi, but it is not that. If you understand what Saturn is trying to do to you, it can actually be a huge blessing to you instead of something that blocks you all the time. So Saturn is going to be in Aquarius throughout this year. Now, what it will do, why is Saturn there throughout the year, is because it is motivating us to identify our individual values and live authentically. Now, this will culminate, the end of this, of course, is going to be that we become the best versions of ourselves this year. And instead of just standing by, it will encourage us to raise our voices wherever we see injustice, either in our homes, in society, globally, but we are not going to keep quiet now. So now we are going to start speaking up, maybe for ourselves, because we don't like certain things that are happening and we definitely want to make a change, in people respecting us even more, or socially or even globally. So Saturn is going to play a very, very important role throughout this year. Now, the planet Venus is in retrograde right now, and it will go direct on 29th of January. As you probably know, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, and abundance. But while she is in retrograde, relationships do get affected. But please understand this, that if Venus did not go retrograde, how would you actually see the clarity of your relationships? So what happens when Venus is going retrograde is that relationships do get affected. They probably go through a grinder, but towards the end of it, it comes to clearing the heaviness and the negativity of those relationships. And of course, post that, either the relationship becomes much more stronger, it becomes more lasting, or then both the parties realize that we are living a farce and a make-believe world, and then they both move on on their own path. So this is going to happen while Venus is in retrograde till 29th of January. Venus is also associated with abundance of money. So until she is retrograde, just don't overspend. Don't try to splurge on probably luxuries right now, just till she's retrograde. And also, please do not try not to look for another change of job or a pay hike or a raise in salary or something, because that's not going to come, because Venus is the planet of abundance and money. So only after she goes direct is when the monetary abundance will start entering you. So that's the time from 29th of January when you will start getting a lot of stability in your monetary income. Now in 2022, and this is very, very important, we actually will be facing 4 Mercury retrogrades. Now, what is the planet Mercury? Mercury is the planet of communication. So what happens during these retrograde periods? We can expect delays in travel, but definitely there could be some miscommunication, either in the verbal dialogue or written form. Technological disruptions also can come up, with probably the internet crashing or slowing down. So please make sure that during these periods of the retrograde, you have saved all your matter, you have taken a backup, and also you have read whatever mails you're sending out or whatever notices or letters that you're shooting out, that you have reread it again so that it is not miscommunicated to the person that you're trying to send to. Be a little more careful in your verbal dialogues, because you may not actually be wanting to say something negative to a person, but it could be misconstrued. So just be a little careful even when speaking to other people, especially those very delicate relationships, or maybe with your bosses or colleagues or something. Just be a little more careful at that time. Then also another very important thing, please read the fine print before you sign any document during the periods of retrograde. So let me tell you the time when these 4 retrogrades are going to come up. The first will be on Aquarius on January 14th, and it will go direct on February 3rd. Second retrograde will be from May 10th in Gemini, and it will go direct on June 3rd. The third retrograde will be from 9th September in Virgo, and that will go direct on 2nd October. And the last Mercury retrograde for this year will be on 29th December in Capricorn, and it will go direct on January 18th, 2023. So I'm giving you just a broad listing, and of course when I'm doing those individual sun signs, I will also tell you how these retrogrades probably will affect each and every sign as I do the other videos. So also remember that during these Mercury retrogrades, there are a lot of skeletons that will fall out from your closets, especially in relationships. So maybe some past relationship that you really haven't still cleared completely may just suddenly pop up, and you just have to deal with it. But this is also the time when probably once again, you cannot brush anything under the carpet, and whatever comes in front of you, you actually have to be very strong enough to face it and then release it completely out of your energy system. So why does that happen? Please remember that if those past relationships come up, or some issues come up in your life, or maybe something just suddenly, like I said, falls out of your closet, it is only happening so that you can look at it in totality and